Trump, he doesn't have the it factor. And even when it comes to Charlie Kirk, JD Vance does not have that it factor either. I mean,
Trump wouldn't even endorse JD. He wouldn't do it.
He's already done it, hasn't he?
No, he said, I really don't even need a vice president. But he had to have somebody. He said that. I didn't make this up. He said it in an interview.
Yeah, but he's also came out and said he thinks JD Vance would be a great.
No.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. I don't have it queued. I'm pretty sure Trump has indicated that JD Vance would be a good follow-up to him. He said Marco Rubio too.
That was just to brush them off. He will not endorse him. I'm sorry, he won't do it.
You must be running me over. Not only are people suggesting that you're cooking me in the comments. Clyde says, "Goddamn, Tim, for an intelligent man, you are gullible." What am I missing? What the fuck am I missing out on?
I'm not blowing smoke up his ass for whoever said that.
No, he's telling me
I'm. You gullible? They automatically think I'm blowing smoke up your ass.
No. Well, I guess it could be that way, or it could be.
Tim.
It could be that they think you're blowing smoke up my ass, or it could be they think you're telling me facts, and I'm too naive or gullible to realize the truth.
You're missing the mark. Yeah, well, yeah.
I don't know.
I wouldn't call you gullible. You're just misinformed on certain things.
It's hard to
say, and that's how it is on this app. Period. Some people know some things that others don't. Some people read some places the others don't. I don't know everything. Like I said, when I'm wrong, I stand corrected, but don't come with an opinion. You got to show me receipts.
I feel you. Well, I make it clear on the program. I don't have all the answers. I'm not a know-it-all, and none of my viewers are either. That's why we all meet together and share ideas in a free speech forum. But to hear that the vice president may be involved in something that is this heinous, you got to admit that is a bit shocking, right?
I don't understand how. Look at his whole administration is crooked as fuck right now. Everybody had to go in front of the committee so far because nothing is done presidentially. No, they doing shit that they do in high school shit.
Okay, listen.
Come on.
Except
it's terrible. Blowing money.
Here's the problem. Listen, because of Trump is a controversial guy. There's always been controversies orbiting around Trump. But JD Vance? To say that JD Vance would do something like that? That's JD Vance as a senator.
Why would you think it's impossible?
As a senator, did JD Vance have anything controversial really orbiting around him?
But listen, he stepped into a whole tank full of sharks. You either gonna swim with him or get ate up by him.
I really think you're putting the guy in a dark light. I mean,
okay, that's fine. You could think that all you want to. That's fine.
Wow, JD Vance.
Congress has no balls.
So do you also subscribe to the theory that him and Erica Kirk may ride off into the sunset?
It's very possible. Where's JD's wife at?
How the hell would? Wait a minute. MAGA is you do realize my beloved MAGA, damn it. They're the party of family values. You think they would be okay with something like this?
Tim, I love it. That's a whole fluff if I ever heard one.
You really think that MAGA would be okay with taking out the man's taking out the man so you can sleep with his wife?
Hey, Mike, listen. I don't know. Shit, the president himself had about 3-4 wives. How the fuck you don't think that shit is possible?
That happened before.
He talk about deporting immigrants and his wife is one.
That's
how they operate.
But as MAGA often says, what happened before he became president is not really a big conversation. Okay, all of Trump's indiscretions were before he became president. Since he became president,
his PP probably don't work now. Don't nobody want his old ass.
Oh, come on.
So he goes. I'm gonna ride off into the sunset with what I got. Cause who the fuck else gonna go in there and bend over for him? Like, come on, make that. I don't give a fuck what kind of money he got. To see that shit, come on, don't make me start talking like gangster grandma here.
Since Trump has been president, he has been a faithful, loyal husband to Melania.
Oh, he's a Christian too, I bet.
He says he is. He says he is. Okay, you got to take a man at his word. He says he is.
He's a Christian too.
All right, I've been frying enough with you.
And maybe that car had a little tight around your head, because that shit right there.
You know something? It is
That's
actually.
Cute, now put it back on. It's cute.
No, look, I've been frying enough with you. I better move it on because you're trying to kill me. You're trying to kill me.
Listen, this is what we're about, right? You know, speaking whatever comes to mind, whether it's true or not, right?
Absolutely.
That's what our president does, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because people see him, people hear him. Yeah, listen. MAGA just mad when they get exposed. They don't want to be wrong. They want to blame everything on the libs. Oh, the libs this, libs that. Listen, the libs ain't in charge of shit right now.
I'm hearing that it is Trump who's the one that is doing all the exposing of libs, but I gotta move it on.
Trump ain't doing nothing but ducking them files. That's all he'd rather unalive hundreds of people than to expose them files because they said what's in them files is horrendous.
He's innocent until proven guilty.
Well, he's been adjudicated, so let's stop with that too.
He's innocent of what you're talking about.
There's actual paperwork, documents, court filings, and everything to say that he did it. It's just certain things you pay things out of court. Listen, like I keep telling you, the bottom line is money here. You got enough money to pay off the right people. All the shit can go away.
I'll leave it at that. Mr. Mobetta, thank you for coming through. Enjoy your Sunday.
Indeed.
All right, it's a pleasure. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen. We're talking about the best and worst of President Trump 2.0, year one. Now, my last guest didn't have a lot of positive accomplishments from President Trump, but there's plenty there. I want to get some MAGA on here. I'm going to have to get the other side. I did not expect Ms. Mobetta to really be favorable of Trump. There's a lot of folks that are critical of the president, and there's a lot of folks that are just the opposite. Where's my Charlie Kirk autopsy report? Says Jermaine 75. Why do you need an autopsy? You actually seen him go from living to deceased. What do you expect to see in the autopsy report? I mean, you've seen him go out. I mean, you actually seen what happened to him to the tune where everybody, before they even announced the outcome, everybody knew this dude is not coming back from that. So I don't know, what do you expect the autopsy report to say? Gangsta Grandma says, you know what happened? He was leaning, I guess you mean leaking and dripping. He was leaning and dripping. I guess leaning, no, he's leaning too. So he was leaning and dripping, says Gangsta Grandma. I mean, listen, I don't know what the autopsy is going to say. Only thing that I've heard so far that would even rank as suspicious is that the round stayed within his frame. I mean, you would assume a round would go right through neck tissue, but it actually stayed within him. That's about the only thing that seems kind of weird. Like, this didn't go through him, but other than that, and apparently the round must have been tumbling or something like that, which would make a really horrible entry spot if it's not, you know, if it's actually tumbling as opposed to a spiral. Other than that, though, anyway, looking in the comments, he was pro-life. Yes, he was indeed. I don't know what the laughing emojis are about. Are you a Donald supporter? I lean left, hence the name of the program, Smith 215. I just don't think everything about Trump is bad. I enjoy talking to MAGA, but politically, I lean left on a host of subjects. How about that? You know that man is guilty. Doesn't matter what we know, be nice. It has to be adjudicated, proven in a court of law amongst a jury of his peers, and he has to be convicted. He has not, none of that has happened. So until that actually is the outcome, President Trump is innocent until proven guilty. They need to reflect and take the huge eyesore look at why their party is dropping off a cliff. Well, they say the same thing about the Democrat Party. So both parties think the other party is dropping off a cliff. Tap the screen, get us up to 28,000. Help your boy out with the TikTok cap goal. Help your boy support the program coming up on the end of the year. Hence why we're talking about the best and worst. Appreciate that alter ego. Thank you very much. Shout out to you supporting the program. This is what we're talking about, the best and worst of President Trump. Before I go to the next caller and get us up to 20,000, I'll give you some of the things. This is some shit to work with. This is some things to work with. Obviously, in regards to the best and worst of President Trump. DOGE kind of started out, Department of Government Efficiency. We can go a million different directions with ICE, the border, immigration officials, birthright citizenship, getting rid of TPS, asylum. I mean, there's a million ways to go with that. But your view on his border policy. Talking about the best and worst of Trump. National Guard being deployed into major American cities in an effort to lower crime. Best and worst of President Trump. This one here, I don't know. I guess I would have to hear from a few MAGA that think this is a good idea. The other stuff that I've said so far, plenty of MAGA is going to think many of that stuff is good. Plenty of Democrats are not going to agree with it. But this one here, this is another controversial action by President Trump, where I think will probably only qualify as good by the deepest pitfalls of MAGA, and that is pardoning the January 6th participants. I don't think most Americans believe that was a good thing to do. Lincoln Raleigh Act, LGBTQ getting them out of women's sports, the tariffs. Real quick in the comments, Handsome Conservative, good evening to you. Did you hear the UK implemented mandatory digital IDs in order to work for the United Kingdom by the end of this year? Well, didn't we have, what was it called? They had to check. I cannot think of the website. To hire an immigrant in this country, we did have something you had to check on. What was the name of that program? Somebody let me know. But you had E-Verify. Yes, DenCal, thank you. We actually had something similar. I mean, it's not an ID, which I suppose anything could be made counterfeit. But listen, if you're not legally in the country, you shouldn't be able to work. I get it, but I don't think there's any ID you can ever create that somebody can't come up with some type of counterfeit version of it or a way to use somebody else's. The UK wants to strengthen its laws to prevent illegal immigrants from working in that country. More power to them. I mean, I'm okay with doing that in America. I don't see any problem with doing that. By the way, you would probably hurt a lot more Americans than anybody. If you make it harder for illegal immigrants to work in this country and they start finding underground ways to do it anyway, you're going to find that there's a hell of a lot of Americans that are working with them and helping them out, because there's a lot of Americans that want to hire them for those jobs. They're not getting those jobs on their own. They can't go to a company or a hotel or a construction site or a farm and force the employers to hire them. The people obviously want them there. So I don't know why we're attacking immigrants and pretending like they're so smart, they're masterminding all this shit on their own. Just like with the drug trade, bringing fentanyl in this country. You think they could do that if there were not a lot of Americans helping them out, helping them, turning a blind eye to smuggling shipments getting in the country, not to mention buying the product and selling it. So a whole lot of Americans involved in this shit. If you didn't elect him, Trump would be in prison, says U.S. Ironic Morality. I agree. I believe that. I absolutely believe that. If Trump did not become president, Jack Smith would have continued on. And from what I've seen and heard so far, I think Jack Smith at least has a decent case. And that's just Jack Smith. Fani Willis, I don't know why she was chasing dick to the point where she would fuck up her whole case. But Fani Willis, I don't know what would have happened with Bradley over, was it named Bragg or Bradley over in New York? But yeah, I actually do think at least one of those cases would have resulted in Trump doing time. Not to mention the way he acts in the courtroom alone could get you thrown in jail if it was any of us. Giving out the judges' relatives' addresses and shit like that would get any of us thrown in jail. Real quick before I start taking comments, get us up to 20,000. We'll take Alvin Bragg. Yeah. If you acted like President Trump did in the courtroom, most of those judges would have you at the very least locked up for a few weeks for contempt. In addition to tariffs, talking about the best and worst of Trump, Venezuela, stopping drugs from entering this country. Good or bad, depends on how you look at it. Bombing Iran, Yemen, Syria, and now Nigeria. Good or bad, depending on how you look at it. Ending 8 wars, something Trump continues to take credit for. I'm not for certain what countries are involved in that, but he continues to talk about he's ended 8 wars. Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. How do you feel about that? I'm going to tell you my humble opinion on it. I got a couple more and we'll go to take the calls. We're at 20. I don't believe the Gulf of America will stand. I think the next administration, there's some things that Trump has done on his own that I think will be reversed the minute he leaves office. Gulf of America is probably one of those. The Qatar jet. How do you feel about the Qatar jet? That's good or bad? Obviously having a military parade that just happened to fall on his birthday. renaming the Kennedy Center, and there's a host of more, but I just gave you a few to work on. Best and worst of President Trump. Going back to the comments, you are right about a lot of what you're saying. Thank you, Diddy. Let me go back to the box. I got smoked on my last caller, says a lot of my guests. Continuing on in the comments. I don't know what I hit there. Straight Talk. Good evening. Welcome to the program, Straight Talk.
You got a lot of cleanup to do. Number one, I'm suing you for loss of IQ points.
Oh, damn, really? Better. What did I do?
Yes,
what did I do?
I'm filing a lawsuit this morning. I'm bringing the judge into the courthouse on a Sunday because it's that serious.
All right, what did I fuck? Give me my fuck up. What did I do wrong?
You had that woman who should have corner the market on tinfoil hats. I mean, Mo Better? I mean, come on. We can do better. We can do better.
Okay. What did she say that you...
All right, let me start from the beginning.
Let me get my notes out. Let me get my notes out. Go ahead.
All right, and I need all of your listeners to be listening to me when I'm telling you this.
You got about 6
felonies.
You got almost 1,000 people. Felonies. You got almost 1,000 people across all platforms. Go ahead.
It wasn't 32 felonies. It was one felony, 32 counts. 32 counts of the same felony. That's number one. His punishment, he was found guilty. His punishment was unconditional discharge, meaning he faced no prison time, no probation, no fines for any of those convictions. And he's appealing. He's even appealing. I don't know anyone that would appeal the 34 felony counts when you got no punishment. You got found guilty. No punishment at his own expense. He is appealing.
Well, to get it off. Well, wait, hold on. I'll let you continue. But just like Mark Wahlberg got charges on his criminal history, he appealed them years just to get it off your record. That's why people appeal it.
Oh, okay, I got you. But what I'm saying is, if I dodged, look, you guys have to come to the determination that either Donald Trump is a super criminal genius, or y'all are the most incompetent people ever in holding people and bringing them to justice. Get comfortable with that.
Well, let me just say this, and I'll give you plenty of time to state your other points, but I'll just say this. First of all, he controls the justice system. So if I had control of the justice, if I had Pam Bondi and I could threaten people, I would appeal it too.
Her then, Tim. He didn't have her then. That's why we got all these bogus charges.
I'm saying.
Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Give me.
All right. Number two, the difference between Brett Favre and what he was accused of and what these Somalis are accused of in the fraud. Number one, the fact that you know about the Brett Favre case means that it was publicized plenty. That's number one. Number two, you're talking about $77 million total state scandal, most of which Brett Favre had nothing to do with.
How do you know that?
I'm looking at it right here. The total funds misspent was $77 million. It's going through the system right now.
If you know Favre didn't have, how much did Favre have to do with it?
$1.1 million.
That's still a whole fucking lot.
Right, it is a lot. Hey, but you know about it. It was on TV. It was not covered.
Hold on. The same media that's covering the Somali fraud, the same media that's not really covering the Somali fraud, was doing the opposite with Brett Favre. You didn't.
No. The fact that here, I'll tell you why. There is a inordinate amount of, not inordinate, there is more coverage, but let me explain to you why. Let's see if you agree. Okay?
It's the governor.
The Somali fraud is $250 million so far. 77 people that are responsible for that fraud and brought up on charges. Not one guy the reason that they publicized was because of who Brett Favre was.
How much is the Somali fraud you said again?
$250 million so far.
Okay.
So, you're talking 4 or 5 times what the fraud was in Louisiana that Brett Favre got himself caught up in. And look, I could go through and give you the Brett Favre defense. Dude, if he did something wrong, he needs to be buried. I got no problem with that. Man owes me no money.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm the same with the Somalians. The Somalis, rather. If they did something wrong, they need to be, if they're in the country on a visa or a green card, they need to be deported. But if they're Americans, then they get brought to justice. I'm the same
most
way.
Most of those people that they are deporting, their only crime is that they are here illegally. They need to go regardless. So you're here illegally, you've got to go, period. And on top of that, you're stealing from me. In other words, you're living in my basement without my knowledge. I haven't given you permission to live in my basement, and I find out that you are stealing my Pop-Tarts. On top of that, you gotta go.
Okay, I disagree with you partially. In regards to if they're here illegally, they gotta go, period. There is no other crime you can commit in this country where you don't get judged by a judge based on how you appear when you go before the judge. Let's say you got a shoplifting warrant that's on you, and they find out the warrant is for something you got caught stealing 20 years ago. They don't just say, well, if you stole, you must be punished, period. They judge it based on, okay, you've had a clean record. They may throw that out. I don't know why when it comes to immigration, it doesn't matter how old it is. We're like, if you've done something wrong, you must be punished. We don't treat no other crime like that.
Well, look, we could have that discussion if we weren't dealing with toddlers on the left. If President Trump didn't his breathing alone is enough for y'all to go into spasms. All the man's got to do is breathe.
What I don't get is why do you and many other MAGA act like TDS or people going into spasms, as you call it, on Trump is some kind of shock? The guy is online, on TV, insulting Democrats daily. In my opinion, he apparently wants to be hated. He's not acting like somebody who wants to. Listen, hold on. If you never heard from a single Democrat in your life, and you just had Trump's tweets and his posts and statements he made on TV to go with, how would you think the Democrats would feel about him?
Yeah, listen, you guys are playing this all wrong, and I'm not going to tell you how to play this.
That don't take nothing away from what I'm saying, though. We may be playing it wrong.
I'm trying to explain. I'm giving you my answer.
Okay.
You guys are playing this all wrong. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to play and get what you want out of Trump. That's not for me to do. Y'all need to figure that out yourselves.
Okay.
But I know what you're doing now sure the hell ain't working. And that's good for me because I totally disagree with what you want. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
If you changed your approach, the man won with a plurality of the vote. He won the popular vote. So your idea that the majority of people didn't want Trump or all that is thrown out the window.
Nobody's saying that.
People together.
Nobody's saying that majority of people didn't want Trump. He won fair and square.
You did earlier. And I'll tell you again.
How did I, wait, tell me what I said to indicate that majority of the people did not want Trump. What are you saying? I never said that. He won all 7 swing states.
No, that's not what you said. What you said was there was something that, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was, but it's what stuck in my brain was, look, we voted for the president. It was his promises of something about, maybe it was deporting people, but it was that he did not explain his position enough, and that we didn't know this prior to voting for him.
Oh, okay, I can clear that up. I absolutely believe that if Trump had been completely forthcoming with how he was going to treat the border, he was going to get rid of TPS, he was going to make claiming asylum impossible, he was going to get rid of all the Venezuelans that are here, talk about ending birthright citizenship and even canceling green card holders. No, he would not have won the Hispanic community. He didn't say any of that while he was campaigning.
Listen, he would have won by a larger percentage of the vote, number one.
You think more Hispanics would have voted for that?
Hell yes. Most legal immigrants they despise illegal immigration. Yeah. And let me tell you why. This is one of the things that I find very offensive about the Democratic Party. Okay. And by the way,
you totally skipped over what I asked you earlier, but keep going.
No, we'll get back to that. But let's pivot 1 second, because your audience needs to hear this, and they need to hear it good. My father was a garbage man and a janitor to raise his family. So the idea that there are Americans that won't do these jobs and we got to import them from somewhere is an absolute slap in the face to my father.
Your father got paid a decent wage to do this shit. They're not paying a decent wage anymore.
That's why he had 2 jobs. That's why he had 2 jobs. It was such a decent wage.
Okay.
Now, my best friend, who is an attorney making 2.8, almost $3 million a year, his father worked with my dad as a janitor at night to get his kid through law school. So coming at me with this, we got Americans and they don't do these kind of jobs, that is an absolute, and your father and your friends' fathers, they did all kinds of work like that.
Yeah, but they got paid a decent wage. You're skipping.
You're too good for.
You're skipping over that. When my father or grandfather, they were paying better wages back then. In fact, one parent could work and the other one could stay home.
They're not paying better wages now? Because you allowed a bunch of cheap labor to come into this country. Yes, they will pay a janitor more money if it's a citizen and they don't have the vast number of people that come into the country willing to do it for less.
Here's what I don't like, though. The same.
Hold on. Respond to what I just said.
Okay, you ain't respond to shit I've asked you, but let me just say this. In regards to what I asked you about Trump wanting us to hate him, you skipped completely over that and said we ain't playing it right. You didn't respond to the fact that Trump wants to be hated. His behavior is commiserate to someone that wants to be hated.
Look, I'll answer that. Listen, what do you expect from the man? 98% of his press is negative and derogatory. The way that they ask him questions is always trying to trip him up. You expect him to spread a little butter on him. You expect him to put a little colorful sprinkles on him. You expect him. No, that's not.
Actually, to answer your question, I do. George W. Bush got a ton of negative press from the left. Obama got a ton of negative press from Fox. He didn't. Obama not once did he ever call a reporter stupid or said. I mean, the news on Obama was fake. What they said about Biden, suggesting that what they said about Biden, suggesting everything from he touched little girls to he didn't like black people to he stole the election. Not once did Biden go out and attack Fox News reporters. In fact, he invited them to all press conferences and took their damn questions.
Black people, they weren't black unless they voted for him.
I'm just saying.
And by the way, if that has got to be the most racist thing a presidential candidate has ever said in American history.
You just heard me play the tweet of Trump the other broadcast. I think that beats that.
I don't think. Well, look, you'd know. I mean,
accusing black people of murdering whites wholesale. You really think accusing black people of murdering whites wholesale is not as bad as vote for me or you ain't black?
Well, I didn't see that. Do
you want to see it now? I can show it to you. Do you want to see it? I can show it to you because it's worse than what you're talking about.
Sure. But let me ask you this.
Sure.
You know, LBJ refused a reporter's request for an interview until he had to take a dump and made that reporter stand there while he interviewed him, while he was taking a shit. So if you're telling me that Trump has done anything close to that, I'm going to say, look, man, that's a pass. That ain't true.
Well, my point is, I'm just simply saying, and what I asked you earlier before you didn't answer, I said, if you just had Trump's information and you just saw what he was saying about the liberals, you would think you would be left with one choice to think that the liberals probably don't like this dude. I mean, he said the liberals hate America, and then another time he got up at the Charlie Kirk event and said, what did he say then? I don't wish the best for him. He said they hate America, and he also said, what else did he say? I hate Democrats.
You expect this guy. He's not Jesus. He's not going to turn the other cheek. He is not going to sit there.
There you go.
He's not going to sit there and tell you how great you are while you're spitting in his face. And I'll tell you something else. The reason that he gave Charlie Kirk that ride on Air Force Two, the reason that he went to all of those links for Charlie Kirk is because Charlie Kirk got him elected. I mean, without question, Charlie Kirk was responsible.
I can't speak on that. I can't speak on that. I'm not for certain that he had anything to do with the demise of
youth
Charlie Kirk.
vote?
So I can't speak on that.
The youth vote, well, he said it a million times over. J.D. Vance said it a million times over. All you got to do is pay attention to
but
what they're
keep
saying.
in mind, Trump gave Marjorie Taylor Greene all kinds of credit for helping him out. Trump don't give a whole bunch of people credit and said they were great, and then he turned to shit on them. So, just because J.D. Vance gave Charlie Kirk credit back in the day, Trump has shown us you can turn on somebody, make an 180-degree turn on somebody. Trump has shown us that.
But you forget, this is how you do. You leave out the part where they turn on him first. Charlie Kirk never turned on Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene, on the other hand, she didn't get her way. She turned on Trump. Trump started trashing her out.
I don't know if that's true. I think the issue is
100% true.
No, because Charlie Kirk started talking about everything from AIPAC to the Epstein files. If you're talking about something Trump don't want you to talk about, to him that could be construed as turning on him.
No.
So I don't know if I agree with that.
Donald Trump has nothing to do with the Epstein files. Y'all keep trying to put him in there as best you can. If you
think Trump don't have nothing to do with the Epstein
files. Trump in those Epstein files, man. Look, I'm glad that's where you're wasting your time. You could actually make a difference. But if you want to keep doing that, be my guest.
Listen, you and I both know, unless you just want to play the other side of this, you and I both know the only reason we don't have everything in those Epstein files is President Trump. If Trump said release everything unredacted, we would get everything unredacted. If it was left up to Bongino or Cash Patel, we would have had all that stuff right now. Trump is the only reason we're not getting to the bottom of this.
100%. And you know something?
Thank you.
Donald Trump could release every single document, and if he ain't in there with full color video, full color pictures, doing something to kids, y'all will never say it was all the documents.
True.
Donald Trump is damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. He's trying to protect certain people. There is no doubt about that. But who is it that he's trying to protect? Is he trying to protect the country? Is he trying to protect leaders of other countries?
Why would he, when he was asked would he pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, why would he say, I haven't thought about it, but I could? Why would he do that?
He does have the power to do that.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just say, no, she's a serial pedo? Why wouldn't you get a right answer?
Well, because maybe he's trying to get her to give all the answers back up. Maybe he's trying to get her to do something that they've been trying to get her to do.
Anything works if you give everything the benefit of the doubt. This would be just like a judge letting go of some kind of criminal that goes on to reoffend, and we say, well, maybe the judge thought you wouldn't accept that.
No, we do it all the time. Listen, you catch a guy that is driving substances through Texas. You catch him on I-45. You pull him over. Substances all up in that van. You may say to him, hey, if you tell us where you got those substances, you may get a very reduced sentence or maybe even walk free, my friend. We'll put you in witness protection program if you fear for your life. We'll give you a whole new life. Tell me that doesn't happen all the time.
That happens all the time, but here's the problem. Trump doesn't keep secrets for a damn. He's even showing us Venezuelan boats being blown up. If Trump was getting something from Ghislaine, you would know about it. The fact that he ain't told you shit for why she's in minimum security, to the point where you got to make up and speculate that maybe something good happened. That, to me, Trump, that ain't Trump. That is not
this
Trump.
This hasn't all played out. That's what it's telling me.
That ain't Trump. That is not Trump. Does not operate in total secrecy. He doesn't do that. Ghislaine Maxwell's in minimum security. If he was getting something out of her, he would have hinted or said something about it. The fact that he's giving you nothing at all, that ain't how he operates. He never does anything like that.
Listen, I don't. Okay,
he's literally showing you people die on camera, declassifying shit that don't need to be declassified.
Why not? He's being very transparent.
Right.
The guy doesn't.
Exactly.
He doesn't go 48 hours without giving a press conference.
Exactly. He's being very transparent.
10 months. Joe Biden went 10 months without even meeting with his own cabinet.
But that's the point. He's being very transparent, but when it comes to the Epstein stuff, everything else, he's very transparent. When it comes to Epstein, he is very secretive.
Why? You don't even stop to wonder why.
I know why. There's a reason why. I want you to hear this. We'll keep talking, but I want you to hear this because you're talking about vote for me and you ain't black. This is President Trump a few years back.
You played this for me.
Okay, and if you heard that,
you heard something totally different than I did, and maybe that comes from our backgrounds.
What the hell did you hear? What did you hear in this? What did you hear in this?
Something completely different than what I heard.
What did you hear in this?
I did not hear anything. I didn't hear him being racist. But then again, I'm not qualified. Evidently, you tell me all the time I'm not qualified to judge.
You just brought up Joe Biden.
More sensitive to me about it.
You just brought up Joe Biden. Vote for me, you ain't black. But when it comes to Trump, you ain't qualified.
No, that's true. That's true. I would have, but see, that just shows you. I would have thought that would have been more racist to you. If it had been me, I'd have been like, what do you mean I'm not black?
First of all,
talking about I'm not black.
First of all, what Joe Biden said is not likely to get me harmed. Trump painting black people as wholesale murderers of white. This right here can get people killed. This is significantly worse.
Yeah, but I don't. Okay, and look, that's a point well taken. I will take that point. That is not something that I will argue. Okay, I did not hear him. He did not say that to me. In other words, that's not what I heard from that conversation. That every black person was a murderer or whatever. That's not.
I'm really curious as to what did you hear, because there's a graph and everything that went along with it. What did you hear?
Graph. Yeah, but listen. He was saying that out of the hole. That's what I was hearing. Look, Tim, I'm sorry you're frustrated with me.
No, I'm not frustrated. I'm not frustrated. I'm baffled. I'm baffled. The guy puts a graph on television that says that 81% of white homicide victims were killed by black people. And you're telling me what I don't what else does that say other than if you are
white? Is that number right? Is that true?
No, it's 15%. You told me you heard this. Bill O'Reilly told him.
No, I did hear it, but I assumed that he got that information from someone that he trusted.
You sure didn't? We talked about this in detail.
He put bad information out to what's that dude's name?
I don't know.
On Fox. He was on Fox when he said that.
Yeah, he actually tweeted this on his personal account. Is where it came from.
Yeah, but he was being interviewed by.
Bill O'Reilly was interviewing him. Bill O'Reilly was interviewing him, telling him that what he said was garbage. I gotta move it on, unfortunately, because we've kind of run out of time. But you're always welcome back. Yeah. But I'll play because other people in the comments that have not heard it want to hear it. But we'll talk about it on the next time, man. Appreciate you coming in.
It's good to see you, man.
Always. Merry Christmas is done, but Happy New Year to you, man. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen, get the likes on up to 30,000. I will play this real quick. Because many folks, we got
to paint you as
several hundred across all of the profiles. We got at least about 1,000 people in here. I do want you to hear what I'm talking about, because this is actually on my profile. Having a Biden moment, I can't talk. This is on my profile, The Handsome Liberal on YouTube, and it's titled "Trump Never Said Anything Racist." I often play it anytime somebody goes, "Well, I never heard Trump say anything racist before." I named it that because Bill O'Reilly says he doesn't have a racist bone in his body, and Bill O'Reilly used the same language. So it's named "Trump Never Said Anything Racist."
Democratic Party in general trying to paint you as a racist. Are you aware of that?
I think so, but I think people know better than that. I'm probably the least racist person on earth.
Well, I've known you a long time, and I never saw any racism from you. However, when you tweet out a thing, and this bothered me, I got to tell you, you tweeted out that whites killed by blacks, these were statistics you picked up from somewhere, at a rate of 81%. And that's totally wrong. Whites killed by blacks is 15%. Yet you tweeted it was 81%. Now,
Bill, I didn't tweet. I retweeted somebody that was supposedly an expert,
but you don't
and it was also a radio show.
Want to be in that zone?
Hey, Bill, am I going to check every statistic? I get millions and millions of people.
You got it. You're a presidential contender.
I have millions of people. You know what? Fine. But this came out of radio shows and everything else.
Oh, come on,
all
radio
it was
shows?
A retweet. I didn't say, excuse me. All it was is a retweet. It wasn't from me, and it did. It came out of a radio show and other places because you see all the names.
Look, you know I'm looking out for you, right? You know that? Yeah, I'm looking out for you. I look out for every honest politician. I don't care what party they're in. Don't do this. Don't put your name on stuff like this because it makes the other side, it gives them stuff to tell the ill-informed voter that you're a racist. I mean, you just handed them the platter.
This was a retweet. I'm sure you're looking out for me. Everybody is, right?
Yeah.
This was a retweet. This was a retweet.
All right, whatever it is.
And it
I
came
told
from
you
sources that
tweet
are
ever.
very credible.
I'll just give you a quick commentary on this. You hear it. You hear what happened. And of course, Trump never apologized for this. So vote for me, you ain't black, or this is what we're left with, which is what I was telling my last caller. I always say on the program that if I believed President Trump, if I was white and I believed him, that if I'm ever the victim of a homicide, there's an 81% chance that a black person is going to be the one that commits the homicide of me. Anytime I see black people coming down the street, I would either put my hand on my gun or cross the street and try to avoid them. I mean, this paints black people as murdering whites wholesale. So vote for me, you ain't black. I don't know how that would be above this because this really can get people injured. Also, there's a few things in this. You hear him you hear Bill O'Reilly tell President Trump that not only is this incorrect, the source you got it from is completely false. The source on here is the San Francisco Department of Labor or something was on the bottom of it. That source doesn't exist. You heard Bill O'Reilly tell him the source does not even exist. So you hear Trump respond by saying, you know, I don't have time to fact check everything I send out. I got it from some kind of radio show or something like that. Trump is the king of the word fake news, going at the networks and putting out shit that's not true. And here he is admitting I send stuff out and I don't even have time to check it. Do you not see the hypocrisy in that? Big Dog, thank you for the hat mustache. Do you not see the hypocrisy in that you're calling out everybody else for sending out fake news, but then when you're caught doing exactly that, you come up with excuses for why I don't have time to check mine? That's ridiculous. In addition to that, I also have to ask, let's say, for instance, this was actually true. Let's say that 81%, that number was an actual truthful number. Still, why would Trump send this out? Why would you take to social media and tell white America that blacks are murdering you, other than to piss off white America in regards to how they judge black America and to make black America look bad? Even if it's true, we have to ask the obvious question. Why are you sending this out? What would make you go online? I mean, listen, there are statistics about whites when it comes to mass shootings or when it comes to pedophilia and things. Why would you just go online and tweet that out? Well, most victims of this crime is done by whites. We would have a problem with any president doing something like this. So the main goal, why would you tweet this out? This was meant to be harmful. And by the way, this happened in 2015. So this is a long time before TDS or any of those other claims. Leading to what I was telling my last caller. Based on Trump's actions, it appears that he wants people to hate him. He does things that leave you no choice but to dislike that. This is before the impeachments. This is before all of the things my last guest said that gives Trump some kind of excuse to take revenge on the left. This is before all of that. This is when he was running for his first term as president, running against Hillary Clinton. He was doing this already. He was already doing this kind of stuff. So, like I said, if you've seen and heard "Vote for Me or You Ain't Black," and you hear this and you can come up with an excuse for this, I'm just simply saying. But this, you see, this is not coming from some kind of commentary or anything. You see, this is Trump actually copying to it on Bill O'Reilly. Anyway, looking in the comments though, damn you digging deep, said Straight Talk. Why did this happen? That's what I'm saying. Why would you do this other than to make people angry? There's no other reason to do something like this. And not to mention, I always ask the question of, where the hell did you find this? You say you claim you got this off of radio shows. By the way, radio doesn't send you graphics. You have to go on the internet to do this. This is very similar to Haitian migrants eating cats and dogs. It appears, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe I am. It appears as if Trump goes on far right sites that has this type of, this is hate in my opinion. I mean, this is deliberately misleading numbers just to make this community look better. You see the graphic on the screen. It's a black guy wearing a do-rag. The gun is turned to the side, gangster style. His pants are sagging. This is hate, period. And it appears, whatever site you got this from, that says a lot about the site. And it also says a lot about why are you on that site taking their information without even fact checking it. And that's also the reason, the excuse he gave for why he said that Haitian migrants are eating cats and dogs. It was something that we just came across on the site. What sites are you reading? Anyway, let me go back to the box. He made a mistake. It does not prove racism. Then you can say anything based on that. If you can say something that's awful, and then, well, I made a mistake. I didn't apologize for it. So how do we know it's a mistake? You have to fill in the blank and assume it's a mistake. Because he never said, I'm sorry. He made a mistake. Anyway, let me go back to the box. You are okay with racism if it comes from the left. And you're okay with it if it comes from the right. Going back to the box, we'll start out with Dencal. Good evening, Dencal. Welcome to the program. Best and worst of Trump 2025 is what we're doing. Give me some good things, Trump. Give me a couple good things, Dencal. Let's get on the good side.
I was thinking the other day, man, I was trying to think of something.
That bad?
I mean, yeah. Other than like certain things are like that just kind of go along with the job. Like if you say something like, well, look, he gave money to HBCUs, like that just goes along with the job. That's not him going out his way or doing anything. So the only thing I could think of, which is like a contradiction to what the right believes, and that is that through these tariffs, he has actually been able to pull money out of these large corporations, because at the beginning of the tariffs, you remember when he told those large corporations, I need you guys to eat some of these tariffs.
Yeah.
And remember at the beginning, they were covering a lot of the tariffs, the Walmarts and the big companies, they were covering the tariffs because they didn't want to pass them down. But now it's gotten to the point where they're starting to pass them down. So they literally did
they ate some of it.
They did something that Democrats have been trying to do forever, was to get these damn big corporations.
Yeah, but let's be clear. Trump is transactional, just like with the Qatar jet. They ate those tariffs. They probably got promised something on the back end.
I mean, they did get the big beautiful bill, so they got it back. I ain't saying that like they did something. I mean, I'm just saying I have to dig deep, is what I'm saying.
But how about this? When you say you can't think of nothing, you got to dig deep. My last caller says he made the HBCU money permanent. What say you?
Listen, I'll give you an example where people are giving him credit for something that he doesn't deserve. The Patriot or whatever, the war fighters credit or whatever he gave
you talking about the $1,776 he's giving people?
Right.
Yeah.
So what people don't understand is that money was designated to the soldiers and sailors, and it was supposed to be proportionate to what they get for BAH. And I'll give you a quick synopsis. Say, for instance, your family, you live in Hawaii.
Okay.
And then my family lives in bumfuck Mississippi somewhere.
Cost of living difference, okay.
The cost of living difference. So my BAH in Mississippi might be $1,100. But mine to take care of my family in Hawaii or New York might be $2,700.
So what you're suggesting now, because it's the same, it's going to give some people a windfall, and it's going to really hurt others.
Exactly.
Ooh.
But people don't know that. So everybody's just, oh, look what he did for the soldiers. But all of the people that live in these high economic areas like New York or California, they were dependent on a lot. They would have been getting a lot bigger.
So for them, it's essentially a cut.
Exactly. So when he goes in there and does that, everybody doesn't understand the process. So all they know is, look at Trump. He gave all of the soldiers $1,700. Well, hell, if I was supposed to get $2,700, which was allotted through Congress, not through the president, and he goes and takes the money and evenly distributes it, he's shitting on half the people, and he's doing good for half the people.
Wow. And then the comments real quick, my last caller said in regards to HBCU, Trump doubled the money and made it permanent. You're the first I've ever heard suggest that Trump doubled funding for
that's a lot.
Even folks that are MAGA, even MAGA that has brought that up as a credit to Trump. I've never heard somebody say he doubled it. You're the first person I've ever heard say that. And that was in his first term. Yeah, I've never heard that before.
I know you got to acknowledge some of these dummies, but that ain't true.
I never heard it before. That's all I'm saying. I've never heard that before that he doubled it. But
I'm just saying, man, instead of just saying I never heard of it, just say that ain't true, because you know it's not true, Tim.
Well, look, I don't have all the fucking answers.
Double shit to the HBCU.
Dinko. Some of my beloved MAGA, some of my red hatters actually do know what they're talking about. I don't always know. So I'm going to say I don't know it's true or not.
That particular one, you can call them out and say, you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
And I see William in the comments says, Tim, stop. I don't know. I really don't know. I've never heard it before. I've never heard anybody say that he doubled HBCU funding. It's first I've ever heard of that.
And because what he did, yes, he did make it permanent, but nothing was wrong with the system they had, that every year they used to come back and petition depending on the economy and get the money. Just because he made it, he actually screwed them over, because they no longer were getting that cost of living adjustment when they went back to the White House. They were stuck with a specific amount each year. It did not help them the way people make it sound. But once again, the way he does things and the way he puts it out, people say, wow, look at how great it was. But when he does things that are bad for people, they don't acknowledge that.
Okay, well, let's move to some things we can actually give him credit for. Okay. Surely he did some things right, correct? I mean, secured our border. Do you give him credit for giving us the most secure border, as he would suggest, in America's history?
Listen, we can talk about what a secure border means. I mean, we have our own interpretations of what a secure border is. What I would say is that a lot of people's lives have been hurt more than helped by removing people who were here legitimately, people under TPS. You're talking about the DACA people, the Cubans, all of these people that were here, commit no crimes, being good citizens. Yes, they might have got a speeding ticket, or some of them might have got a petty theft or whatever. Those people did not deserve to be yanked from their lives and just sent to a country they never knew.
Okay,
so I don't know, when you say, are we safer? Are you saying that people from other countries, there aren't already people here from terrorist cells that are sitting somewhere?
Well, but he's addressing it. You got to give him time. He's only been in office 11 months. He's trying to get those. What I'm saying is this: you obviously question how the sauce is made, but I'm asking, do you like the pizza though? Okay, you didn't have to watch me make the sausage. You don't like how I made them, but the damn sausage tastes good. Do you like the fact that the border is now secure? You don't like how we may have gotten to that stage, but do you agree we should have a secure border?
I believe that we should have a certain border policy that gives incentives for people to report when they come to this country, because I don't think that you can do you believe that there's really nobody coming across that border now?
I believe it's way less than under Biden. In fact, I believe the incentives to come under Trump, he is so disincentivizing that I don't think the average. Why would you want to come knowing he may put you in a horrible facility indefinitely? I mean, I don't think any people want to come right now.
Because the people that are coming now are coming for different reasons. The people that are coming now are coming for bad reasons, because there's money to be made in America. And those tunnels that people used to use, the cartel, those things didn't just close up. People are still coming. They're just not coming across the Rio Grande like they used to.
How about this? Okay, yeah, I don't believe the number is 0, but compared to Biden, I believe that, okay, Trump said, this is what Trump said. We can take Trump's numbers with a grain of salt, but Trump said migrations are down, what did he say, 94%. I don't know, because Trump exaggerates on numbers all the time, but I would certainly guess that it's well over 50. I do believe that people coming in this country, the number of people coming in this country illegally under Trump is significantly less than Biden. You don't believe that?
I believe that there are less people coming, yes, but I don't believe that that number is going to change my safety or yours. If it's 10 people coming across a month, that's enough people to come over here and cause a lot of damage if that's what they want to do.
Okay.
I believe the mass event, I'm talking about 90, 99% of the people coming across into this country were coming to make money for themselves and their families.
Yeah.
That 1%, we will never be able to stop. The 1%, we don't even know. People come across in boats. People come across in planes. People are coming across right now with his million.
But do you not agree, regardless of why they're coming here, do you not agree reducing illegal entrance into this country is a good thing? Do you not agree that what Trump is doing in terms of release, just that focused on that one way, not how it's done? I get separating families and cages and all, but simply stopping folks from coming to this country that have no legal right to be here. Do you not agree that that is a good thing to do?
I'm indifferent because it doesn't affect me. Like, I don't like just saying it's less people coming.
Really?
Like, people have been coming across, people have been migrating to this country since the inception. So to say like less people means a better something for me or my life or my kids or my community.
The Epstein list doesn't affect you, but you have an opinion on it.
You're talking the difference between pedophilia and somebody crumbing up across the
But them ain't your kids. It don't affect you.
Misdemeanor, which is literally a misdemeanor coming across the border, was a misdemeanor before Trump got in.
So if it's a misdemeanor,
are you saying jaywalkers should be punished just like murderers?
No, I'm not saying the punishment should be the same, but I'm saying that you're telling me because it's a misdemeanor and it doesn't affect you, you're willing to turn a blind eye to it.
What I am saying is that the history of this country has been to take advantage of people from other countries and to get them to do all of the fucking work for this country and to develop this country. And then when it's convenient, now we're going to say, fuck you all, get out because we want to make ourselves feel better. We're not doing nothing to protect ourselves by putting out these Hispanic people. We're not. This is a cultural thing that people have grasped onto. It's got nothing to do with me being better. I'm thinking my country's better now because we got less immigrants in it or not. First of all,
let me give you an example. What's going on in Minneapolis right now? Those Somalis. Had they not been let in the country, then Cal, that is millions of dollars that the state of Minnesota would never have lost. Under Trump, they wouldn't be here. Is that not a good thing?
I can't connect everything. Like, there are people in every aspect of this country who commit crimes. I can't connect the crime.
You can say it's a good. Wait a minute. You can't connect that.
I can say those people from Somalia who were beating the system. I would say they came and learned how to be criminals in the American system. They learned that shit. They didn't learn that shit from Somali. They came over here and they looked at the paperwork and they said, if we just write this in here, you mean we could make money start coming? They learned that shit over here from being around us.
But Trump is making sure that they're not going to be able to continue doing that. Is that not a good thing?
But guess what? It's some Italians in goddamn New York City that's fucking the system over. It's some motherfucking Chaldeans in Michigan that's shitting on the system over there. It's some motherfucking Turkish people in California that fucking gaming the goddamn law. We could go through every damn race and religion of people and say they shitting on America. Does that mean we should just say, oh, fuck all of them, we should stop them from coming? No, because we're a big fucking melting pot. That's what we are, no matter what these people want to think or say about America is a Christian nation. America is for the white people. We came over here and we took this country over, and so now everybody should. No.
Well, the point I'm making is, you're right. Other groups of people have came to this country and did bad things. But what I'm saying is, you can't, even though we haven't caught them all, we got one group that would not be here if Trump was in office. Do you not see any benefit to having Trump in office, preventing stuff like this from happening in the future?
We don't know if they would have never been caught unless Trump was there. Like, we don't know that. How do we know that? I
think that Trump would certainly, because Tim Walz is not even that aggressive on the people in there in his state. Trump is going to be very aggressive on them. In fact, Trump will go around Tim Walz to make sure that those who have been involved in that are either punished or deported and or both. I mean, the guy's fighting crime. Is that not a bad thing?
Dude, Trump is not fighting. What did them catching these damn Somali people?
They're stealing billions of dollars, man. They're stealing millions of dollars.
How the hell is he fighting crime when they just found him guilty of damn near $200 and something million worth of fraud in New York? How is he fighting crime? He should turn himself in.
We ain't talking about that. We weren't supposed to talk about that.
He should turn himself in, and then we could talk about what is he, German? Is he German? We should now say his people. We should go ahead and get them out of New York because they shitting on the taxpayers of New York, and therefore shitting on me as a taxpayer because he was cheating us out of federal dollars.
I hear that's all a witch hunt, man.
Okay.
So has he done any fucking thing right for America at all in your eyes?
I told you he got the rich people to pay some of the tax.
Anything else? Give me something else. You're being difficult.
Shoot. Let me look at my paper of the stuff he promised to see that he get.
Okay.
Did he get anything wrong? Okay, lower grocery prices. Nope.
What about the Lincoln Riley Act? Come on, really? You're hesitating on that?
Look, do you know how hard people had to fight to try to get the George Floyd Act? To try to get. What
does they got to do with Lincoln Riley?
What I'm just saying, like, that doesn't necessarily help the country per se because it's like, how long did it take them to try to get the Lynching Act passed?
Shit, did they get it?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not going to say that one particular thing is somehow something great that he did. Okay, 50% decrease in car insurance. Nope. Landlords will reduce rent. Nope, because I'm a landlord and I ain't reducing shit. Home prices will go down. Nope. Sub 3% interest rates. Nope. End of the Ukraine war. Nope. Matter of fact, we're in more conflicts now. We just went to war with Nigeria. They done bombed some shit.
No, that's not accurate. According to the press, what Trump did in Nigeria was asked for. He was asked for assistance by the Nigerians themselves to deal with ISIS.
What?
That's what's being released.
Exactly. That's what they asked for, and guess what he did? Bombed some empty goddamn fields in motherfucking places where there was no ISIS at, and then they said, look, I did something. You got to pay attention to the whole story. Don't talk about what we said.
I get it. I saw the reports of the open fields and all that, and those are cruise missiles. Just $500,000 in those. I don't understand.
Man, those people, they can put a goddamn cruise missile through your basement window and hit you right now. You trying to tell me they inadvertently sent some damn Tomahawks that landed in the empty fucking field with GPS goddamn tracker and man, stop.
Maybe he was trying to make a statement. I could be accurate, but I'm gonna drop this near you. You see off in the field there, you see that explosion? That could have been you. I'm just going to let you know at 9 o'clock at night, I want you to look off to the east. You see that? Next time it's going to be on top of you. Maybe he was doing that.
I look at the international news, man, and those people from Somalia was like, what in the hell? Ain't even no damn ISIS around here. What is they doing?
Yeah, and I see in the comments, somebody said, I can't listen to his mouth anymore. You're pissing off my viewers.
Okay, what about this? The end of the Ukraine war? Is that over? Oh, remember we had the conversation. Remember we said what?
But Zelensky is here. He invited Zelensky to Mar-a-Lago today. So there's progress.
He was here. And what did we say? What did you ask me? What did you think? What did I think was going to come out of this conversation?
I did ask
and I told you two things.
I did ask you.
I said, well, he's going to come out and say, we had a great conversation. Let me talk to Putin again. And we're going to have another meeting. Exactly like I said.
Well, listen, every conversation Trump has with a world leader is a great conversation. That's kind of his method of operation. When he talks to Putin, it was a great conversation. When he talked to Kim Jong-un, he talked to Xi Jinping, all of his conversations are great conversation. That's just what he says. I don't know what else to do with that. That's what he's going to tell you.
Exactly, but these Trumpers, they don't look. They listen to what I'm saying. They know it's true, but guess what they say? Man, I can't take these liberals. I'm not saying nothing that's wrong.
I got motherfuckers. Not only are they saying I can't take these liberals, I got motherfuckers in the comments like Robert said, you need God in your life, man.
Not Trump. Not Trump don't need God. I need God.
Well, Trump already sells Bibles. Trump obviously is a devout Christian already.
Yeah, and God told him, drop the bomb on Caribbean boats. That's what God told him.
Well, God don't want his children harmed by drugs like fentanyl, so maybe the hand of God is guiding Trump.
Yeah, I got another thing. These people are talking about how they got ripped off by the Somalis. If you put together all of the people that Trump, all of these millionaires and billionaires that Trump has pardoned, he also dropped the restitution from those cases too. So those people who owed hundreds of millions of dollars in restitution and all of that stuff, he could have pardoned them without dropping the restitution, but he did that on purpose. So he literally cut off billions of dollars to the American taxpayers from these criminals that he pardoned. They ain't gonna say nothing about that, but they're gonna talk about the Somalis who stole whatever, 100 billion or $1 million or whatever it was. They so biased that they can't even understand their own hypocrisy.
That's a real strong point about the lack of restitution. These motherfuckers would have gladly paid that just to get out. You didn't, yeah. I can't counter that. That is a good point.
Bro.
Yeah, that is a really good point. That is
billions. These dudes was billionaires that were literally helping his companies. But they ain't got shit to say about that. But you know what they'll say about me? Damn that lib for pointing it out. Yeah. Damn that libtard for saying something that everybody know is true but don't want to address.
I'll leave it there, Cal. You didn't make today's conversation easy whatsoever. I'm almost afraid to lead this one on YouTube. But go ahead, I'll give you the last word.
Supposed to, but the last thing I gotta say is gonna ruffle some MAGA feathers. But all of this talk about birthright citizenship and these people and Trump himself keep getting up here on the podium talking about, well, birthright citizenship should only be for the children of slaves. Remember, that's what he's been saying, right?
No, that's what it was when it came out hundreds of years ago.
Okay. So if that's the case, everybody from any other group, what does that mean for them?
You mean like Barron and all of them?
Yeah, I'm talking about all of them. I'm talking about European, Asian, all of them.
You're saying the quiet part out loud, didn't Carol?
No.
Not the white people. It wasn't supposed to be the white people. You're doing too much, man. You're messing with the white people now.
We all know that there is stipulations in the Constitution that says there can be no laws that specifically point to one specific group. That's why all of this stuff in the civil rights era all has to say it has to be about people of color or minorities. Nothing says just do something for black people. No law ever. Yeah. Affirmative action, all of that has to be applied across the board to minorities, which is white women, which is people of color, Asians, Indians, all of that stuff. But now the president gets up there and says there's something in our law that says it's just supposed to be for black people, for former slaves.
He doesn't exactly.
The Constitution.
He doesn't exactly consult with his lawyers before making statements. I mean, because everything you're saying about that is right. It's not. I gotta go. I don't have any counter for that. Denkel, appreciate it. And he raises a great point. I mean, if you're going to say that birthright citizenship is only supposed to be for, descendants of slaves, then yeah, your son. I mean, there's obviously a lot of folks that have come from Western Europe, the countries that he favor, that would end up losing their citizenship if we went by that. Like I told my last caller, he obviously didn't consult with his lawyers. They would have told him right off the bat, if you say A, it's going to link people to B, C, D, and E, and you don't want it to affect those people. So he didn't think about that. It sounded good when it was, we all do that. You say something that sounds good coming out of your mouth, and then you think, oh, shit, maybe that didn't sound right. Anyway, tap the screen. Get the likes on up to 75,000. You're a right-wing grifter now, says Medic Court. We're not grifting for the right. We're having a conversation. Before Denkel, my last caller before Denkel leaned right, and he told me I was fucking up on some of everything. We don't lean right. Listen, at the end of the day, depending on the politics of the caller, everybody thinks I'm saying some crazy shit. That's what happens when you're somewhat in the middle. When you're somewhat in the middle, everybody thinks you're getting it wrong because everybody wants you to kind of lean on their side. We're all about free speech here. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Our conversation go left of Bernie Sanders to you. We're having dinner with Q. So you can be critical of anybody on this program, including yours truly. By the way, tap the screen, get the likes on up to 75,000. You favor free speech dialogue from all sides of the aisle. We're here most weekdays. If you're watching us currently on X, TikTok, or Instagram, feel free to follow the program. If you're watching us on YouTube, give your boy a sub. And go Bears. Go Bears. I do want to see that game coming up soon. Tim argues the opposite side. I do if I see the opposite side. Like you heard me tell my last caller a couple of times, I don't have an argument for that. If there is an opposite side that makes sense, I will present it. But some things are just so obviously either right or so obviously wrong that I don't believe there is an other side to it. So in those cases, there's nothing to argue. I'm not going to defend stuff that sounds ridiculous. What does the middle mean? That's an empty term in politics. Well, I'll give you an explanation, Tom. Middle means I don't see that one side of the aisle is just evil and always wrong. I can see some things on both sides of the aisle that are good. I can see some things on both sides of the aisle that are bad. I point it out oftentimes. I point out things that the liberals get wrong. I point out things that Trump or the right gets wrong. I point out things that Trump is doing right. I point out things that the liberals are doing right. In the middle. So why all the Trump shit behind you, pictures and everything? Where's Obama's picture? Obama's not president right now. If Obama was president, I'd have his picture up. Obama's not president. In fact, when Kamala Harris and Biden were up, their pictures were on the wall. In fact, if you go to YouTube, the Handsome Liberal, the name we go by here, and you click on the lives, go back to this time last year. Their pictures were up there. JD Vance's picture was not up there. So that's who is running the country right now. That's why their pictures are up there. When they leave, their pictures will go with them. Anyway, looking in the comments, I wish there was no right or left or in between. We should all be Americans standing side by side. That's never going to happen, Don Creed, because everybody has different things that affect them. You're never going to get the rich to agree with everything that the poor favors and vice versa. I mean, let's be honest. Black people have a different experience in America than Hispanics, than whites, than Muslims, than gays, you name it. Then the women's movement, everybody has a difference of an experience. So you're never going to get everybody to agree because we all have different opinions. Listen, women, for instance, they believe they're being oppressed. They believe men are telling them what to do with their bodies, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you're not going to get all the men to agree because a lot of men believe that they have that right to do that. So you're not going to get everybody to agree. Help your boy out with the TikTok cap goal. We're nowhere near that. Show the program some love. Looking in the comments, your beloved Chicago Bears are leaving the city, matter of fact, the state, because of bad politics. Creed, That's not confirmed. In fact, several years ago, they talked about doing that. I think it's more to do with leverage than leaving the city of Chicago. By the way, keep in mind, Chicago is the third largest media market in the United States. If the Bears decide to leave Chicago, it would not surprise me if another NFL team says we want to move into that spot. I mean, you're going to get tons of media coverage. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to having a national sports team in Chicago. So if they leave Chicago, listen, they could end up getting competition that they don't want. They've brought this up before. This isn't the first time we've talked about leaving Chicago. So it is what it is. Let me go back to the box. We'll continue. And I think the Oilers, didn't they leave Houston? And look who's there now. I mean, so you can leave, but that don't mean somebody else may not come and replace your spot. James, good evening. Welcome to the program. Before this guy came on, there were over 400 people listening. The numbers fluctuate. And by the way, the numbers on the other platform went up. James, good evening.
What's going on, Tim?
Not much at all. We're talking about the best and worst of our president. Plenty of good things he's done this year, plenty of things that are controversial or bad. Give me something good that President Trump has done for this great nation.
The only thing I can think of is he made sure people knew that what the consequences of not voting going to be. Because every time that man got elected, what happened? The very next thing, the numbers showed the fuck out.
Well, yeah, okay. Listen, there are, what did they say? Elections have consequences. True, he did show that, but nothing good other than that, huh?
No.
Come on. You think, again, the guy's been in office for almost a year. Every single thing he did was bad, in your opinion?
He's been in office for a year, and in that year, it's like we had a catastrophic event happen when we didn't.
How about this? In the comments, On Point says even the devil can do something good.
I gave him one thing good. He made sure people knew the power of voting.
Okay. I always bring up the border because to me that is something that should be easy to see as a good thing, making sure the country is secure. You don't see anything good in that.
He didn't make the country more secure. What he did was he made the country look like it's not an option.
Preventing harmful narcotics from entering our borders. Is that good?
He didn't even do that.
He's doing it every day.
No, he's attacking boats. And before he got in office, it was one in four boats was mistaken as a drug boat. Now, what's the number now? Because we don't know, because he's blowing up everything instead of just like seasoning it like you're supposed to do.
Well, how about this? Even if you want to suggest we don't know what's on the boats, wouldn't that be a huge deterrent to prevent other drug dealers and suppliers from doing it? I mean, even if we don't know what's on the ones we're seeing, you got to assume that others are realizing this is a dangerous thing to try to do and are probably decided not to do it.
It's only in one region. It's only in one region. What about the stuff that he said was supposed to be coming from Canada and China? Nothing's happening to those. Well, there's just one area that he's attacking.
Yeah, but they're not coming to America by boat from up there, are they? I've never heard of that before.
Like the person just said, you're reaching, Tim, because you're trying
to say. How am I reaching? I'm asking a question.
Because you're trying to say that, he's doing a good job by just like indiscriminately blowing up boats.
I don't know if I would go so far as to say he's indiscriminate. I mean, he blew up a submersible. I mean, how many folks recreational wise have a submarine in their arsenal? I mean, if you're using a sub,
if you got a submersible, that you got to have some money. So that means like basically you got to sit there and be careful of what you do in the Caribbean because you might be mistaken for a drug boat.
What the hell? That's what you mistaken for. If somebody is out in international waters with a sub, you're either operating for the military of some country or you're doing something nefarious. Nobody has a sub.
Tim, no. The submersibles that you're talking about, they don't even go that deep. Like they go like barely under the surface. That's the only reason why they're able to see it. But you cannot track.
I get that, but who has something like that is not using it for nefarious purposes?
You see people all the time on YouTube and things like that.
In international waters?
I'm not saying that might not be the case, but like I said, 1 in 4.
I don't listen.
And then like just like Rockweiler just said, international waters, not American territories, which means he's going in where it's international law and he's committing these crimes.
I'm willing to accept the challenges on Trump, but I'm just going to simply say that even though I may not agree with him being so far away from home doing that stuff, it is hard to defend blowing up a submersible. I mean, it's hard to believe that is somebody that is out there fishing, as we're being told. This is just fishermen he's blowing, innocent fishermen. It's hard to believe somebody goes fishing in a submersible.
I didn't say that they were all fishermen. I just said that there's no guarantee that all of those boats that was out there were drug boats.
Okay, and I can understand. I can work with that.
And a lot of those were not even heading towards us.
I can understand it, but when you catch somebody out in open water with a submersible, to me, it's more than likely that that's probably not a good guy. It's absolutely not a fisherman.
Okay, then why didn't you try to capture it instead of just blowing it up?
That's a different debate. We can argue that, and I agree with that part of it. I just disagree with the notion that this is somebody innocent being taken out in a submarine.
Remember, this is the same guy that anytime he feels like he's doing something right, he wants to rub it in everybody's face. So wouldn't it be a better thing to seize this boat and be like, hey, look, see, I told you they had drugs, and showing it off instead of blowing it up and saying, well, they had drugs on the boat.
Oh, he may end up doing that. I mean, to me, showing you the pictures of them dying at sea is rubbing it in everybody's face.
No,
he may do that.
I'll tell you exactly what it is. Is wannabe tough guys playing with weapons.
That's what you see Trump as, a wannabe tough guy?
Yes. This is not the first time he's did it. When he first got in office, what's the first thing he did? He was dropping bombs in Afghanistan.
He went to Syria, Afghanistan too.
Afghanistan and Syria.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen.
What makes it worse? Just like over there in Nigeria, when he was doing that stuff in Syria, he wasn't hitting no targets of value. In fact, when Putin got involved in things like that, that's when things start changing in ISIS.
So you think what do you think he's just doing? Killing indiscriminately?
He had dropping bombs indiscriminately. Trump is not a guy that like prioritizes intel. He's about optics.
I mean, I get that he's about optics, but so he's just killing people for the sake of killing people, in your opinion?
No, he's sitting there listening to these people that say, well, why don't we just carpet bomb the place?
I don't know. Okay, we'll move on. So LGBTQ, keeping transgender out of women's sports. Is that not a good thing? You're hesitating.
I'm hesitating because I'm trying to think if he did it on a large scale or just, in fact, I don't even think he did it. I think there was somebody else, a state did it. Like it happened in a state. It didn't even happen across the board in the country.
I believe
that was somebody's local law that happened to. He didn't put a ban everywhere.
I actually believe, though, he was. I mean, obviously, he's been speaking out against it. I believe he was part of it. But if not,
he was speaking out against it, but he did not get no law passed.
Okay,
he can't even give an executive order on it.
Well, this is somewhat off topic, but to the states, okay, if it was done by the states, do you think the states doing it is the right thing?
It's like a 1% thing. If they I get it. Like I get the argument because it's like there's a guy like even if he floods himself with estrogen, he's not going to lose all of his strength.
So getting transgender women out of women's sports is a good thing in your opinion?
I think they should have their own league.
So getting transgender out of women's sports is a good thing, though, in your opinion?
It's a good thing, but he didn't do it. He's just taking credit for it.
Okay, all right. So I want to make sure you seem like you had a hard time admitting to that. Okay.
No, I'm saying like they should have their own league.
How about showing the prowess and the strength of the U.S. military? He had a parade this past June. Some folks believe that
was the saddest thing ever, and I was here.
Why do you say? I mean, how about building up the morale in the military or strengthening might? Why are you calling it sad?
He did not build up the morale. Even the people in the military was like, that shit, we don't need this. In fact, I'm gonna tell you right now, I've done like the World War II parades, and one of the things we did was we trained to make sure we was lockstep in key and didn't show any kind of mistake. They were sloppy on purpose.
Yeah, the marching looked bad. All right, speaking of the military, he is lowering crime in major American cities via the National Guard. Tell me that's not a good thing. Saving lives, saving crime, saving property.
You mean the illegal act that he did by sending the National Guard in there?
Well, he kind of went around the law, but crime is down.
No. Remember, you're saying you're talking about the law, which he did an illegal act, and it did nothing to help the law. Because answer me this: what arrest happened with the National Guard?
It's not the arrest; it's the deterrent.
No. You said that crime went down. So if they were actually doing it, are these National Guards that most of the time going in unarmed, have they stopped crime?
No, they didn't stop crime. They lowered the
They were
amount of
just
crime.
out there.
Yeah,
They were just out there
as a deterrent.
But they did. It's not a deterrent if the people just like, I don't want to be around here. Like, they didn't go into like the heavily crime infested areas or anything like that. No, they're in these cities where the governor or the mayor of that city was seen as a political enemy of Trump.
I'm being told by the Trump administration that it is safe to go walk to dinner in DC, something they haven't had they didn't feel safe doing for years.
No, it's always been like that. Like people can walk around at night. Basically, you're saying that like before then, like it was a wild, wild west in DC. It was not that way.
That's what the president is saying.
And didn't you just say that man exaggerates numbers and things like
that? Occasionally he may say a little something that's a little wild.
Occasionally?
Yeah. Occasionally, yeah.
Tim, he still holds the record for the most lies told in office.
Well, he talks more in front of the cameras than anybody. They said Biden was governing from his basement. Trump is transparent. He talks in front of the cameras a lot. So he kind of has room to do that.
No, Trump is transparent when it comes to things that's positive for him. He's not transparent when it comes to anything that may make him look bad. That's why he fired that lady with the jobs report, and why he's trying to get rid of the guy from the Fed Reserve. He's trying to skew those numbers, just like what he did when it came down to the pandemic. Remember, like we used to get cases and tests and things like that. We used to get those numbers all the time. We end up happening. Once it started looking back, he said, "Oh man, we need to stop doing these tests because it's getting worse."
Oh, I mean, he has a direction for the country. He doesn't like bad news. I get it. He doesn't like bad news. Sometimes he can be a bit limiting.
But that's the thing. You can't ignore bad news. Just because you don't like it, don't mean you ignore it.
That's a good point. That is a good point. I mean, but listen, the guy doesn't like bad news. He has a thing against bad news. So.
Oh, and about that thing that Straight Talk was talking about, like trying to say that Trump might be like those charges against him was bad. Trump kept using appeals. Like every time something went down, he threw an appeal into it, and they had to go all the way up to damn near the Supreme Court before they can make a move. So it slowed everything down.
Trump appeals everything. I mean, every court, every case that rules against him, starting with the election of 2020 to many of his policies, he appeals everything to the Supreme Court.
He is the king of appeals. Even though he doesn't have a winning record with appeals, he will still appeal everything to slow everything down. That's why, like all them lawsuits that he got against him, a lot of those got settled because the people that were suing him didn't have the money to keep the pressure on.
Well, he's been really savvy at using it. I mean, he's really, I don't want to say knowledgeable, but the justice system has worked well for him. He knows how to work the justice system. So
he has lawyers that's crooked enough to stretch things out. That's why the only problem with now he's got spotlights on him. So when he tries to pull this stuff, his lawyers are paying the price.
I don't know if when you say he has lawyers that are crooked enough to stretch things out, I don't know if it's being crooked, James. I think it's just using the system for what it is. I mean, you or I, that's why a lot of guys, if they're dealing with a major felony, they'll sit in county jail for for 2 or 3 years before they go to trial, as opposed to a speedy trial, because it works in their case to delay things too. Witnesses disappear. People forget about stories.
No. A lot of those people sit in jail because they can't afford the bail.
Well, that too, but there are people
they also can't afford. They can't afford that pricey lawyer that'll sit there and get things sped up.
No, I mean,
his lawyers are crooked. That's why you see all these people who can't get approved for be attorney generals and things like that. And then, like most of the lawyers that worked for them before, they're facing disbarment or they already been disbarred.
So why do you think there's no shortage of lawyers that want to continue working for him?
There is a shortage of lawyers. That's why the DOJ. Why you think the DOJ lost so many lawyers? Because they didn't want. None of these people want to do that.
I mean, he has no problem finding people to work for him, though. I mean, yeah, there are people getting in trouble and things like that, but there's always somebody else to come. I mean, Pam Bondi, she knew what happened to Rudolph Giuliani and many of them other folks. She has no problem doing it.
And what's the track record with the DOJ right now? How many cases have gotten thrown out because of their incompetence?
Yeah, it's been a lot. I don't know what the actual number is, but it seems to happen fairly frequently.
What's that phrase they say? You can indict a ham sandwich, but these guys can't seem to get indicted.
They couldn't do that to Letitia James. In the comments, asshole, what is his name? Asshood, that asshole. Asshood 0317 says Trump is the greatest president in America's history. Why do you think?
No, you had it right the first time, asshole.
No, he said asshood. Why do you think, with folks like you and my last caller having so much criticism of Trump, that there still seems to be no shortage of MAGA that would suggest he's the best president we've ever had? What is the disconnect? Why are you guys so far apart?
Because MAGA likes Trump making people upset. They like trolling. And
that's
Trump
it.
If you saw what Trace talked, every time you brought up a fact like that he didn't like, what did he do? He either tried to move the goalpost, or he tried to deflect, or he tried to just ignore it completely. And you just sat there and showed him point blank that Trump said some shit like that. And what's the first thing he said? I remember this. I didn't hear what you heard. I heard something different.
Yeah. I don't have an answer for that. I don't mean because what Trump did is that was bad. When it comes to
Trump, they're either blind or deaf to the negative things that he do. But the second he does something that they think owns the lid, they're championing it like they won a Super Bowl.
So what are they doing? Just judging Trump in a special way or something?
There's when he said that he can get rid of somebody on 5th Street and they wouldn't bat an eye about it. You're seeing it now.
Yeah. I mean, they believe that Democrats are trying to destroy the country, James. That's why they're willing to overlook some things that Trump might do. They think Kamala Harris
They think that Democrats are trying to destroy the country. But Trump came out his mouth on video, on camera, talking to Orban and saying, "Hey, give me money and I'll get rid of the regulations that keep you from making money."
Yeah, I mean,
if that was Harris, Obama, Biden, any Democrat that said that, they'd be up in arms talking about that person needs to go to jail.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to admit they judge the liberals a little different than President Trump, but that's because they believe President Trump is doing so many good things for the country. I mean, as the guy said, he is the best president we've ever had.
They're going poor cheering for him. And when Biden was bringing things back to somewhat of a normalcy, even though it was slow, I'll admit it was slow as hell. They sat there and was like, none of this shit is good. But if you look at the numbers back then to now, things were better with Biden than they are right now.
I don't think MAGA saw the economy is rebounding under Biden. I think with the price of eggs and groceries, they thought Biden was fucking up.
Groceries are more expensive now than they were under Biden.
But now they see the economy is rebounding.
How's the economy rebounding when everything's
I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. I don't know. I'm telling you, they see the economy. I have MAGA that agree with Trump that the price of Thanksgiving dinner indeed fell by 25%. That's what President Trump said. I got MAGA that agrees with it.
This is the same man that told people, "Oh, you shouldn't be buying so much stuff. You should be buying less." But this man is spending more money now than he did in his first term.
He's a wealthy man, James. He's a wealthy man.
So wait. So you're saying what you just said? It's okay for him to just to wastefully spend money, but anybody else? Oh no, you gotta be fiscally conservative. You gotta stop doing that.
Well, he's telling Americans to be financially responsible. Do not live above your means. You don't need $37 or 200 pencils. Yeah, he has a little bit of extra gold around his house, but he can afford it. You can't. So about $2 instead of 10.
He's using taxpayer money for that stuff.
There's a little bit of extra tax money laying around. I mean, there's a lot of people that are nice and generous to him too, though.
There's not a person in his cabinet that's not wasting money. And remember, those were supposed to stop all that fraud, waste, and abuse. And you got Hank Self putting makeup rooms in his office and things like that. You got Cash Patel using FBI resources as a chauffeur for his girlfriend. You got Christy Nome having photo ops at all these damn sites. And then you got Pam Bondi frivolously doing lawsuits, doing all these indictments.
I mean, well, Christy Nome is a nice looking woman. I got to move it on, but listen, a few photo ops never hurt if it gets the message out, right? I mean, she did a photo op in El Salvador in front
the
of the
fact that you
inmates.
said she's a nice looking person after seeing her face.
She's not ugly, is she? I mean, unless you're watching South Park, but I mean, if you're not watching South Park,
you see her face and you.
Huh?
Like she's got more plastic in her face than actual Barbie dolls.
Damn. All right, then she's maybe a little bit less attractive than many might think. All right, fair enough. James, I got to move it on. Barbie dolls.
They said in the comments, you're blind, Tim.
I'll leave it at that.
And don't let Gangsta Grandma hear you talking.
I don't. Yeah. Well, apparently I tried to bring her up. Maybe she stepped away, so we'll leave it at that. But James, always a pleasure, man. Thank you.
All right, Tim.
Anytime. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen. Get us on up over the 6-digit hump. We're almost at 100,000. So tap the screen, get us on over there. People are supporting someone they don't know. If they knew the truth, there would be no MAGA, says Speak Easy for Kids. You think if people knew the truth, nobody would vote? I don't believe that. Because I'll tell you why. The liberals are doing things that many on the right, particularly MAGA, feel that are so harmful to this country that they would vote for anybody on the right. So even if they knew the truth, as you're suggesting, they still would vote, just like Kamala Harris. I always bring up Kamala Harris, how I think she's a bad candidate. I believe a lot of left voted for Kamala Harris just simply because they didn't like President Trump. So I believe that there would be plenty on the right that would vote for any Republican candidate simply because they didn't like Kamala Harris or they didn't like Joe Biden. So there were even no matter what truth you tell them, there are going to be people that vote for Trump regardless because they think the liberals are just that bad. There would not be MAGA, not Republicans difference. Barely. Shit, I get what you're saying. There's a difference between traditional Republicans and MAGA, but by the time all is said and done, ain't gonna be no traditional Republicans left anymore. All of them motherfuckers are rhinos. I mean, think about it. All your traditional Republicans you've known in your lifetime. I mean, really, even Reagan to a degree, but Reagan, the Bush family, H.W. and George W., Jeb Bush as the governor of Florida, what is his name? Mitt Romney, the 2012 Republican nominee, John McCain, the 2008 Republican nominee. They don't like any of those people. MAGA does not like any of them folks. All of the leadership of the Republican Party that you've known all your life, the current MAGA does not like any of them. All of them that were going to be in line for president or were president, the Bushes, McCains, the Romneys, Cheney, they don't like the Cheney, all of them folks, they don't like any of them folks. So I don't know, the traditional Republicans may have expired due to MAGA, due to Trump. Anyway, looking in the comments, MAGA women hate gender-affirming care, but they get the same procedures. And that's crazy to me. Yikes. You know, speaking of which, I had somebody online tell me today, it was a conversation orbiting around the plight of African Americans. It was something racial, and this was a Caucasian woman that voted for Trump, and she said something to the effect of, I'm tired of hearing about slavery and the plight of blacks. Blacks got their freedoms before women did. She was indicating, I want to hear more about women's freedoms. We talk about blacks all the damn time. Why don't we, do more to promote women's freedoms? And I felt compelled to respond, and I stated that, well, first of all, you don't normally see blacks fighting against civil rights leaders. There's a few black MAGA or BLAGA as they come, but for the most part, the African-American community is totally in harmony with civil rights leaders, going all the way back to Martin Luther King to the Ben Crumps and all of them. And they don't fight back. There are plenty of women that fight against feminists, plenty of women that fought back against the Me Too movement, plenty of pro-life women. So what I was telling her is, if you want to get, you reach the gains of the African American community, you guys got a unit. You got to have more unity. You don't have unity. I mean, you got women that are talking about oppression like yourself. I was telling her, you supported Trump. You're favorable to Charlie Kirk and the Christian nationalist movement. Yet you're talking about women's rights. Like, do you realize that you're with a pro-life group? She literally said something about men are telling us what to do with our bodies. Like, you're voting for the guys to do that. Fact is, if you're a woman and you're talking about women's oppression and things like that, you picked Trump over the potential of having 2 women presidents. You picked Trump over Hillary Clinton, and you picked Trump over Kamala Harris. But you're indicating that you don't want men telling you what to do with your body. That made no sense to me. Like, you're literally voting for guys to do that to you. That did not make any sense to me. Anyway, looking in the comments, that's the problem. Is we the people, not a individual title. But has it ever been? Has it ever truly been we the people? We have always separated people in this country. Right now, with what's going on in Minnesota with the Somali Americans in that state, most of those folks are legally here. Many of them were born here. They are American citizens. I don't think a large portion of this country views them as Americans. They'll always be Somali, no matter how many generations of them are here. There are people that do not view them as equal Americans. So we've always separated people. Anyway, looking in the comments, KFC is bigger than Europe. What? Tap the screen, get us over to 100 hump. We'll go back to the box and continue on with X. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Europe is a small lake in Macedonia. Meaning what? I don't know what you guys are talking about, but my last guest did not come up. Guess grandma said they voted for Trump. Yeah, I don't get any woman that's talking about the women's lib movement, or you believe women are being held back or oppressed or fighting for equality. If you, the Trump side of the aisle does not even entertain that shit. They believe a lot of that stuff is nonsense. I don't, you're favoring Kirk and Heritage Foundation and all this shit, and you're talking about women's lib. Okay, that didn't make sense to me. We'll try it again. What's that says? Is this live LGBTQ friendly? Yes, it is. We are friendly to all sides of the aisle, by the way. But yes, they're going to put you back in chains, says Marvin. Yes, that is a quote from Biden when he was running for VP against who was Mitt Romney's running mate? I can't remember that, but he was saying that if you vote for Mitt Romney, it's going to put y'all back in chains. But like I said, here's the crazy thing. As you guys heard me play the clip earlier, MAGA can remember all of the suspect quotes coming from Biden and other. When you play Trump quotes, the way they interpret that stuff is like, it's crazy, because Trump has said some pretty wild stuff and they just dismiss it. But vote for me and you ain't black, or some of these other quotes, they can recite that stuff constantly. But Trump says something and they just skip right over it. I never could understand that. Let me go back to the box. We'll try it again. Bringing up another guest here. We'll see what happens. I don't know what's going on with the box right now, but apparently it doesn't seem to be working here. I may have to reset this. Let's try it again with Lewis. Good evening, Lewis. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. I didn't vote for him, but I'm still FBA. What is FBA? All right, Lewis, good evening.
Hey, what's going on, Tim?
Not
Hey,
much at
Merry
all.
Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy whatever that other one is.
Happy New Year's. That's the next one. Happy New Year's. So the question is, we're talking about the best and worst of President Trump. Give me something Trump did good for this country.
I'm going to tell you, the only thing I think he did is he opened up all of our eyes to how divided we are and how easy it is to manipulate each other. And I mean, really, because there is people, Tim, you know I hate your fluffing.
We not fluffing. We having a conversation. There's no fluffing here.
But I kind of get what you're doing. I get what you're doing. And we need a little bit more of that. It's the only way. Now, I don't like it when guys come up and they're just saying stuff that's totally ridiculous and you don't put them in check.
All right.
But when they come
we
up,
try to avoid that. We try to avoid
that. Yeah, I like hearing from the other side in reality and with honesty. I don't like the sound bites and all that good stuff. And I'm gonna tell you something, Tim. If you don't pull that Scully down off your forehead, I'm telling you, man.
How about that?
Come on, dude.
It's a little too tight for the diameter. It's a little too tight for the diameter. Goddamn it.
Exactly. Yeah,
It's,
you the biggest Scully.
it's something somebody gave me for Christmas, but goddamn it, it's too tight. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Fucking cutting off my circulation shit. I'm talking to you liberals. I'm losing some of my intelligence here, but go ahead. Giving me a fuck.
I hear you. But I don't think the only thing I'm going to say is because I really am a strong advocate of a strong border, but I'm more of an advocate of a good immigration system. And that's where I think he kind of lost it at. He did slow down the crossing of the borders, but he didn't do anything to make it better for what we need. We do need immigration. Tim.
Is he doing a better job on the border than Biden, though?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So he improved. He's not where you want him, but you will admit he is an improvement over Biden.
Yes, I just don't. It's like one of those things where you like the result, but you don't like the way you got the result. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I told Denkel. I was like, you like the taste of the pizza, you just don't like how the sauce is made.
Exactly,
Okay.
and I get that. I totally agree with that. I mean,
We getting
boy,
somewhere.
I can't wait. I can't wait till you get Gangster Grandma in here, boy, because she gonna take.
There's nothing there. We're simply talking about giving President Trump credit for the things he's done for this country. What's so wrong with that? I mean, are the Democrats so adverse to Trump that they won't give him credit when he does something good?
I'm gonna be honest with you. The only thing I think he did was good, and I'm gonna be honest with you, is gonna say the result of his thing on the border. But this thing is where he kind of dropped the ball at is putting those National Guards into the city and giving ICE too much power. That's nobody agreed to that. Everybody wanted the traffic to stop across the border, but we didn't want ICE to do what they're doing. They're kicking brown and black people out of this country like it's old bad.
Well, I will. Here's where I'm going to do what you guys refer to as fluffing. But a lot of folks do believe that giving ICE additional power was necessary because they believe Biden let in so many millions of folks undocumented that if you done it the right way, due process for every single person, you would flood the system, you would cost taxpayers billions of dollars, and it would take forever to address the problem. So by getting them out of here without giving them due process, you got it, because they didn't get due process coming in, they snuck in. If they wanted to be judged by the system the right way, then they would have came the right way. This is the argument that MAGA's going to make.
And I'm not saying no. I'm not into that due process crap. I'm saying that what we should be doing is we should be getting the criminals out of this country. If they get arrested or if they have a warrant, you get them out. If they don't, you give them a pathway to applying for citizenship. It's just that simple. But if you arrest someone,
wait. You said if they're criminal, you said if they're criminals, you get them out. If not, you give them a pathway to citizenship. MAGA's going to say the fact.
I'm saying that I know MAGA say just because they cross the border.
Right. You're here illegally, so you're already a criminal.
But my thing, but that's not reality, and you know that. I'm just saying that I'm talking about the 2-year-old kid that came here when they were 2 years old. Their parents brought them across the border. Though I'm not talking about some adult who came across the border that we shouldn't throw them back across the border.
But how do you respond to the fact, Lewis, that there are folks that are in line? Like when I migrated overseas, I had to wait in line and pay a ton of money. I mean, I don't even know how many thousands I had to pay for all of the shit that I had to do to get residency in Australia, whatever the case may be. But if you do things your way, you are rewarding folks who skipped the line, didn't pay the money, and all of that over people that are still on the other side waiting, trying to do it the right way. How do you respond to folks who say that is wrong?
Because there ain't nobody over there waiting to come across the right way.
There was before Trump came along. Yeah, there were. There are plenty of folks who.
No, it wasn't.
You don't think anyone from anywhere were trying to come in America the right way?
Number one, let's get this part straight. There are no Mexicans crossing the border illegally. That's what everybody keeps blaming on Mexicans. These are not Mexicans. These are people coming from impoverished countries who don't have time to wait in line. If they go to their consulate and try to come across legally, they probably get killed.
You don't think any of the folks coming in this country illegally are Mexican, really?
Absolutely not. Mexicans, we have 5 million Mexicans cross the border every day that come into this country to work, Tim.
Yeah, I'm certain that some of the illegal immigrants in this country are Mexican as well. I don't know where you heard that one from.
Tim,
in fact, I think they represent more of them.
No, they don't. Most of them are coming from El Salvador, from there's a lot of other South American countries. They're not coming from. There's not too many Mexicans cross. Mexicans can get a visa and come across here and work pretty darn easy. They come across every day, Jim.
Yeah, but that's the point, Lewis, is that a lot of the immigrants that are here illegally came here originally on a visa that only gives you like 90 days or 6 months of stay. And they just didn't go home when their visa expired, so they're now here illegally.
Those are the ones I think you should be putting out the country. But those ones who came here when they were 2 years old and been in this country for 15 years, their parents brought them here. They never. There's some of these people being arrested, Tim, that didn't even realize that they were illegals.
How the hell could you not know that you're in the country? You don't. Okay, if you're old, unless you're underage, if you're an adult, you don't have a birth certificate, you don't have a social. How could you not know you're here illegally? Nobody in your family ever told you that?
Tim, my mother was born in this country. Now she's 89.
Okay.
And she didn't get her birth certificate till she got ready to apply for Social Security.
But I suppose. I guess
she was born at home. There are a lot of people that, especially if they're over the age of 70, that were born at home. They weren't born in hospitals. They didn't get a Social Security or any of that kind of stuff until they applied for their first government job to where they could start.
Yeah, but very few of them are Hispanic.
Well, some of them could be though. Everybody act like there's no natural born Mexicans in this country. We have natural born Mexicans in this country. They're just called indigenous. You know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with it. I just believe that the overwhelming majority of people know if you're in it. There may be people like your mom, and I'm not going to take that away because I've heard stories about that. But the overwhelming majority of people that are in this country know, most people know if they're a legal citizen or not.
I know that I just think it's the way that they're doing it with ICE. ICE to me is a travesty. I mean, you say we wasted millions of dollars, or these people are stealing millions of dollars, but we're spending millions of dollars giving people to harass people who are just trying to earn a living, and that's the part that bothers me the most.
Well, I mean, there's no way to get the illegal immigration problem under control without harassing people. They're going to fight back. I mean, the only way you're going to be, it's just like the police. When the police go around and serve warrants or hand out speeding, to some degree, you're going to have to harass the people because there's going to be a lot of people that don't want to hear from you. I mean, and not to mention a lot of us legal citizens are up in their face protesting and screaming shit at them as well. I don't know how you could do it without harassing people.
Tim, are you gonna go out and pick any tomatoes?
No, hell no. No.
You ain't picking shit, right?
I ain't picking shit.
There you go. So we need that. So we need to find. We need to find. I mean, let's just be for real. I'm gonna be really intellectual on you on this. In a capitalist society, you need low income workers.
Yeah. Well, what you could have is day laborers come over across the border, and I mean, if you want to fly some folks in, places that are further within the United States, give them a 6 month or whatever. But the end goal is you got to go home. I mean, it will still be plenty of people that would come. If they could come to America, still make that money, which is more than they would make in their home country. But they know at the end of their 6 month stay or whatever, just like you go on oil rigs and shit like that. And people in this country go places, make money, and they know at the end of the day, they're going to come back. I mean, so you can do that.
I agree with you 100%. Tim, I worked at a big food manufacturer up here. I was a sanitation supervisor up here. I had 21 guys on my sanitation crew, 17 of them were, some of them were from Mexico, some of them from El Salvador, but they were all Latin people, okay, Spanish people, whatever, and they had to go home for 2 weeks every year to keep their visas active. They had to go home every year.
I had to do that when I was when I was doing what I was doing in Australia. I had to do that because I had originally I started out with I think 6-month visas or whatever, and at the end you had to leave and then come back. Sometimes I would go to New Zealand for a few weeks and then come back to reset it. But I had to do that, so I know what it's like.
Absolutely, and I'm gonna tell you something, and that's what I said. It's just that a lot of those guys now they come over here and they get a visa and they come here. They're scared to leave because they think they won't be allowed to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a cruise coming up in a few months and I'm leaving the country and I'm feeling that way, even though everything about me is American. Motherfuckers are just getting held in question. I'm concerned with that. To me, if you don't need to leave the country, you probably shouldn't. I mean, mistakes are happening, people are getting detained. I'm actually concerned about that my damn self. It's just like because right now ICE is so strict.
All I can say is everything you have, just make sure it's updated and double check it. That's the best I can tell you because like I say, there's people who have been sent off and harassed who have all the things that you say you have: a passport, a driver's license, even a. Do y'all have those special driver's licenses? Or they're called?
Yeah, but the one you got to get on the flight with.
Yeah, it's got the little star.
Yeah, I have that. I got that. It was my turn to renew my license anyway, to 7 years or whatever. So I got it. That you can fly because you gotta pay. You gotta pay like $40 or $50 if you don't have that when you get on the plane.
Yeah, it's True ID. I use my passport. Your passport is just as good though.
Okay, I don't like traveling with that if I don't need to.
Well, I use my military ID, so it's kind of like I'm good, pretty much good to go with that. But I can
we deport military veterans now. you might not be good with that.
One of my best soldiers, he got, this was a few years ago, but he got deported back to Mexico. He came over here when he was 4 years old, joined the military, spent 8 years in the military, got severely injured when he was over in Iraq. The guy has 2 silver stars. Dude, you'll never meet anyone who has 2 silver stars. You can ask anybody, any military veteran. There ain't too many people who got 2 silver stars. You'll never meet someone with 2.
To me, there should be absolutely no way in hell you should ever be able to join the U.S. military if you can be deported. Once you join, if you actually are discharged honorably, that should shield you from any deportation going further. If you commit a crime, they should treat you just like an American citizen. If you're entitled to prison, so be it, whatever. But once you are discharged honorably,
you want to know what he was discharged? You know what he was deported for?
What?
A DUI.
Wow. Yeah, I don't. But you said years ago, so that wasn't even under Trump, was it?
It was under Trump, but it was like I said, it was 4 years ago, well 5 years.
Yeah, to me that's really wrong. That it's okay for them to fight for you, but it's not okay for them to be in your country. It kind of reminds me of a scene from Menace where the guy says, it was okay for you when you wanted to come to this neighborhood to steal cars for you. When this guy's talking to a white bitch, it's a scene in Menace that says like that. Well, was I with your funky ass come on, something like that. But to me, no. If it's okay for them to serve in the military, they should stay. Because you don't gave them training in the U.S. military. They don't see things. They know things. They shouldn't be deported.
When we used to recruit them, we would tell them if they did their enlistment honorably and was honorably discharged, they would become American citizens. That was the promise. It stopped under the first Trump administration. That's when they stopped
that to have them, to me, you're literally begging for somebody to commit an act of terror or some shit like that. I mean, kind of what the Afghan national did. I mean, you bring him to the country and then you kind of just, I think his income or something got cut with the federal cuts or whatever, and he drove to DC and shot 2 national. I mean, once them folks put their lives on the line and helped you out, to me, they should be locked in. They should be locked in. You shouldn't be able to renege on something like that because they don't put their lives on the line and shit like that. But
he knew he was going to be deported, and deporting him back to Afghanistan was
a death sentence. A death sentence, yeah.
Yeah, he knew he was going to be.
And it looks like we made
time he landed at the airport, he'll be eliminated. No question about it.
And it looks like we may do more folks like that. But Lewis, I got to step away. My game is about to start. We're gonna come back after the game. But Lewis,
if you don't put Gangsta Grandma up here,
I'm scared. I'm scared.
I don't blame you. I did holler at her. She said she wanted to come up bad, man.
I tried to bring up the first time it didn't come. Lewis, I gotta go. I'm scared. Hey,
thanks, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. We're quick in the comments, and I do want to see the Bears. What you mean they shouldn't be deported? I don't give a fuck. All of them gotta go, even their babies. What I'm talking about is simple. If you have someone that is capable of being deported, don't put them in the fucking military. That is a huge liability. Don't put somebody in the fucking military that you're not going to let stay here. You're going to train them with our methods, give them access to shit that may be confidential and all of that, and then send them somewhere else when they're already pissed the fuck off. You think they have any reason not to share anything they knew with other people, with enemies, with ISIS or whoever? You've given them no reason to be loyal to America at all. I think that's the dumbest fucking thing to ever do. If you're not going to let them stay, don't let them serve in the military. That should be what Trump should have. If Trump is going to be so gung-ho on protecting our borders, the first thing he should have passed a law saying that if you're not here legally, if you're not, or better yet, if you're not a U.S. citizen almost, you can't serve in the U.S. military, period. To prevent that from happening. If there is any way, fashion, or form where you can end up being deported, you cannot serve in the U.S. military. Because the minute you get in there, we start teaching you our methods and ways, and you start getting access to things that they really don't want you to discuss elsewhere. And once you deport somebody, they have no reason to be loyal to the U.S. whatsoever. So how about that? How about that? If you want to secure the border, fine. But don't let anybody that's in the military that can be deported, that should be the end of that. That should not happen anymore. That looks terrible. Person is out here fighting and combating shit for the U.S. and then you gonna kick him out of the country, as my last caller said, for fucking DUI. That's horrible. That makes us. And by the way, I'm going to tell you one thing that I believe Trump is doing: reducing the amount of trust people are willing to put into the United States, breaking deals, getting out of treaties. Certainly, what has happened to folks getting deported that served in the military. You're teaching all of them folks that you can't trust the United States. I mean, whatever you're promising me now, how do I know that America's not going to elect another guy like Trump and he's going to go against everything you're saying? Trump has proven that you cannot trust America at this point. If the next guy get in there and he don't think that the deals that were made with the last president are good for America, he just going to break them. I mean, Iran and Obama, that Iran deal, they signed on that shit. That's an actual deal. They actually signed on that. Trump comes in, it's a stupid deal. We're not gonna listen to it. Then what good is the signature of the U.S.? The signature is only as good as the current president in office. So to me, whether you agree with him or not, what he is doing is he is weakening the word of the United States. And by the way, that ain't something that started with Trump. America's been doing that kind of shit where we had George H.W. Bush tell the Iraqi people to rise up against Saddam, and then we would help them. They rose up against Saddam and we didn't help them, left. And then Saddam started slaughtering them all, which is why you heard his son, George W. Bush, say, well, we got to go back in because he's killing his own people. No, he's killing the people that you guys told to rise up against him. We got a host of history of doing that, telling people to do shit for us, and we'll do something for them. And then when they do something for us, we don't follow through on that deal. The term Indian giver. That's the origin of it. Is we giving shit to the Native Americans, telling them we're going to give them shit and breaking treaties. That's where the term Indian giver came from. I mean, America has a long history of doing that. God bless anybody that get into deals with the United States. It ain't unpatriotic to say this, but we are untrustworthy. We are untrustworthy. We have a history of doing that. But to me, what Trump is doing just makes it worse. Anyhow, folks, I do got to step away because I do want to watch the Bears win against San Francisco. I'll see you guys shortly. Follow the program if you're watching on TikTok, Instagram, or X. Give your boy a sub if you happen to be watching on YouTube. Got to go. Thank you for you folks watching on YouTube. Yes, because you are American, so anything that America does, you fall under that category. I get that you want to separate parts of America, but that's not how it works. It's